You think you're making healthy choices at the supermarket, right? Grabbing whole grain bread, reading the front labels, trusting brands you grew up with. But what if I told you that 9 out of 10 popular Australian bread brands are slowly destroying your health? I'm talking about chemicals banned in Europe, sugar levels higher than soft drinks, and preservatives so strong that even mold won't touch them. I bought 50 different loaves, spent $300, and sent samples to a food lab. What I discovered will make you check your pantry right now. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which breads are poisoning your family and why the bread industry is hiding the truth from you. I spent 6 weeks researching bread brands, interviewed 2 nutritionists, 1 food scientist, and visited 4 bakeries. The ingredient labels genuinely shocked me. Bread with more than 20 ingredients when traditional bread needs 4. Here are the 10 bread brands you need to avoid. Immediately ranked from bad to absolutely criminal. Number 10. Coles Bakery White Bread. Coles Bakery. White bread sits in the bakery section, freshly baked, smelling amazing, priced at $3.50 a loaf. The problem? It's pure marketing theater. The ingredient list reads like a chemistry experiment. Enriched wheat flour means they've stripped out all natural nutrients and fiber, then added back synthetic vitamins. That's damage control, not enrichment. Then comes sugar as the third ingredient. 2.8 grams of sugar per slice. That's over 5 grams in a sandwich before you've added anything. Your body processes this almost identically to eating lollies. The vegetable oil serves one purpose: extending shelf life. They're using canola or soybean oil, both highly processed and inflammatory oils that contribute to heart disease. The sodium content is 380 milligrams per 2 slices. Toast for breakfast and a sandwich for lunch means you've consumed over 30% of your daily sodium limit just from bread. The texture collapses into nothing when you squeeze it because it's mostly air and emulsifiers. At $3.50, a loaf, Coles is betting you won't read past freshly baked. Don't fall for it. Number 9. Helga's Continental Bakehouse range. Helga's has built this premium European image. The packaging looks sophisticated, priced at $6.80, and the name sounds authentically German, but it's marketing smoke and mirrors. Real European bread has 4 to 5 ingredients maximum. Helga's Continental has 14 ingredients. Vegetable oils feature prominently, specifically canola and sunflower oil. They're adding it to extend shelf life to 2 weeks. Real artisan bread goes stale in 2 to 3 days. The sugar content is outrageous, 3.2 grams per slice. The ingredient list shows sugar, glucose syrup, and wheat malt extract. That's 3 different forms of sugar to hide the total. Sugar content. They're using wassoy flour as a cheap filler ingredient. Many people experience digestive issues from processed soy products. The sodium levels are 420 milligrams per 2 slices. Combined with high sugar, this bread programs your taste buds to crave more processed foods. The glycemic index is almost as high as white rice. You're paying $6.80 for factory bread with European cosplay marketing. Number 8. Wonder White. Wonder White has been in supermarkets since the 1970s, and it's been nutritionally bankrupt the entire time. This bread contributes to the childhood obesity epidemic. The texture is so soft and spongy it's almost bouncy. I compressed a slice down to 1/4 of its original size, and it sprang right back. That's heavy chemical processing and emulsifiers like sodium stearoyl lactylate and datum. A 2015 study in Nature found these emulsifiers can alter gut bacteria and promote intestinal inflammation. Your gut microbiome controls 70% of your immune system. The ingredient list starts with refined wheat flour, stripped of all natural fiber and nutrients. Then synthetic vitamins like thiamine, niacin, and folic acid get added back. The sugar content is 2.9 grams per slice. Combined with refined flour, this bread has a glycemic index of 75. That's higher than table sugar. I left a slice on my counter for 3 weeks. It didn't mold, it didn't get stale, it sat there unchanged like plastic. Real bread molds within 4 to 5 days. The preservatives, calcium propionate and sorbic acid, are so effective that even bacteria won't consume it. If microorganisms won't touch your bread, why are you feeding it to your children? At $4 a loaf, the long-term health costs are enormous. Number 7. Abbott's Village Bakery Wholemeal. Abbott's Village Bakery sounds wholesome and traditional. The name evokes small village bakeries. It's brilliant marketing for mass-produced factory bread owned by a multinational corporation. Consumers see wholemeal and assume it's healthy, but there's a critical difference between wholemeal flour and whole grain flour. Wholemeal flour is heavily processed. They remove the bran and germ, process it into refined flour, then add components back. Your body digests it almost as quickly as white flour. Whole grain flour maintains entire grain structure intact. Abbott's contains wholemeal flour, not whole grain flour. Real whole grain bread has a GI around 50. Abbott's wholemeal sits closer to 65. The additives include vegetable oil, vinegar as preservative, wheat gluten for texture, soy flour as filler, and cultured dextrose. That's 12 ingredients. Traditional wholemeal bread needs 4. The texture is soft and fluffy like white bread, just tinted brown. They've engineered this using Dow conditioners and emulsifiers. Sugar content is 2.6 grams per slice in bread marketed as health food. Sodium is 390 milligrams per 2 slices. At $5.20 a loaf, you're paying for the illusion of health. Number 6. Baker's Delight white bread. Baker's Delight position themselves as the alternative to supermarket bread. You smell fresh bread baking, see the ovens, watch them pull hot loaves out. It feels authentic. But authentic presentation doesn't mean authentic ingredients. Baker's Delight white bread contains dough improvers and conditioners to speed up rising and maximize production. One conditioner is azotocarbonamide, also used in yoga mats and shoe soles. Azotocarbonamide is banned in the European Union. Studies linked it to respiratory issues and allergic reactions in bakery workers. And you're eating it. The ingredient list: wheat flour, water, yeast, sugar, vegetable oil, iodized salt, wheat gluten, vinegar, soy flour, emulsifier, and vitamin thiamine. That's 11 ingredients. The sugar content is 3 grams per slice. That's a full teaspoon in every 2 slices. They charge $5.50 for white bread, positioning it as premium bakery bread when ingredients are identical to $4 supermarket bread. You're paying for theater. The sodium content is 400 milligrams per 2 slices. That's 26% of your daily intake just from bread. Number 5. Tip Top The One. Tip Top markets The One as their premium health-focused bread. The package screams high protein, high fiber, lower GI. It's positioned for health-conscious Australians. It's complete marketing deception. The protein comes from soy protein isolate, one of the most heavily processed ingredients. It's created by stripping soybeans using chemicals like hexane, the same chemical in gasoline production. Many people experience digestive issues including bloating, gas, and stomach cramps. It's also a phytoestrogen that mimics estrogen, disrupting hormonal balance in men and young boys. The fiber is resistant, starch and inulin, both processed additives. Many people experience significant gas and bloating from these, especially inulin. The ingredient list contains 22 ingredients. This isn't bread, it's a highly engineered food product designed in a laboratory. Despite health claims, it still contains 2.8 grams of sugar per slice and 350 milligrams of sodium per 2 slices. At $5.40 a loaf, Tip Top banks on busy parents seeing high protein and not reading further. The protein is garbage quality, the fiber causes digestive issues, and you're paying premium prices for food science experiments. Number 4. Lawson's Traditional White. Lawson's has been around since 1965, trading heavily on heritage branding. The packaging looks old-fashioned and trustworthy, but traditional white is anything but traditional. Real traditional bread from the 1960s contained 4 ingredients. Lawson's Traditional White contains 18 ingredients. The ingredient list is a masterclass in hiding sugar. It contains sugar, glucose syrup, and dextrose. That's 3 different forms of sugar. The industry splits sugar into multiple forms, so each appears lower on the list, hiding total sugar content. When you add all sugar forms, you're looking at 3.6 grams per slice. That's more sugar per serving than Coca-Cola. The sodium content is 450 milligrams per 2 slices. Breakfast toast and lunch sandwiches means you've consumed over 40% of your daily sodium limit before dinner. The texture compresses to nothing when you press it. Real 1960s bread had structure. This is engineered foam created using emulsifiers, dough conditioners, and vegetable gums. They use vinegar as preservative, soy flour as cheap filler, and wheat gluten for texture. None of these appeared in actual traditional bread. Lawson's charges $4.50 a loaf, banking on heritage branding. Don't fall for nostalgia marketing. Number 3, Buttercup White Sandwich. Buttercup is budget bread, priced around $3. You absolutely get what you pay for. This bread is so heavily processed that calling it food feels generous. The ingredient list starts with enriched wheat flour, stripped of all nutrients and fiber. Following that is sugar, vegetable oil, and preservatives including calcium propionate, sorbic acid, and ascorbic acid. I left a slice on my counter for 2 weeks. No mold appeared. The bread didn't get stale. It sat there unchanged like plastic. Real bread molds within 4 to 5 days. The fact that even microorganisms won't eat Buttercup should tell you everything. If bacteria won't touch it, why are you feeding it to your family? The texture is like eating a kitchen sponge. The glycemic index is estimated at 78, higher than pure glucose. For diabetics or pre-diabetics, this bread is poison. It spikes blood sugar faster than soft drinks. The refined flour converts to glucose within 15 minutes. The sugar content is 2.7 grams per slice. Sodium is 360 milligrams per 2 slices. Kids eating Buttercup for school lunches experience massive blood sugar spikes followed by crashes. This affects concentration, behavior, and energy levels. At $3, it seems like a bargain, but you're trading short-term savings for long-term health costs. Number 2, Woolworths Macro Whole Wheat. Woolworths positions their macro range as the healthy, natural, whole food alternative. The branding is green and earthy, priced at $5.90. It's deceptive marketing. The name whole wheat is deliberately misleading. Consumers assume it means whole grain. It doesn't. Whole wheat is processed wheat flour with some components retained, but structure destroyed through industrial milling. Real whole grain bread maintains intact grain structure. Woolworths macro processes wheat so heavily your body digests it almost as quickly as white flour. The glycemic index is around 63. The ingredient list includes wheat flour, whole wheat flour, water, yeast, canola oil, wheat gluten, iodized salt, vinegar, sugar, soy flour, acidity regulator, vitamins. Notice wheat flour is listed before whole wheat flour. That means there's more refined white flour than whole wheat flour. You're paying premium prices for mostly white bread tinted brown. The canola oil serves no purpose except extending shelf life. Traditional whole grain bread doesn't need added oil. The sugar content is 2.9 grams per slice. Why does whole grain bread need added sugar? The sodium content is 410 milligrams per 2 slices. At $5.90 a loaf, you're paying for greenwash marketing, not actual whole grain nutrition. Number 1, Mighty Soft. This is the absolute worst bread you can buy in Australia. If you have it in your house right now, throw it in the bin immediately. Mighty Soft is marketed to parents for kids' school lunches, and it's one of the most harmful products in Australian supermarkets. The name itself is a red flag. Mighty Soft. Bread should not be that soft. The unnatural softness comes from a horrifying cocktail of emulsifiers, preservatives, and processing. The ingredients: enriched wheat flour, nutritionally dead flour with synthetic vitamins, high fructose corn syrup, linked to obesity, fatty liver disease, and insulin resistance. Vegetable oil, heavily processed and inflammatory. Then calcium propionate, sodium stearoyl, lactylate, and datum. Research published in Nature in 2015 showed these emulsifiers can damage intestinal lining and promote inflammatory bowel disease. A 2021 study found they alter gut bacteria composition, increasing obesity risk and metabolic dysfunction. Your children's developing gut microbiomes are being actively damaged. The gut microbiome controls 70% of immune function, affects brain development, regulates mood, and determines metabolic health for life. The sugar content is criminal. 4.2 grams per slice. That's 8.4 grams in a sandwich. More sugar than a Freddo Frog chocolate bar. You're sending kids to school with candy bread. The glycemic index is 80, higher than white rice. Within 15 minutes of eating, blood sugar spikes dramatically. The body releases massive insulin. They experience hyperactivity. Then 45 to 60 minutes later, The insulin clears glucose, causing a crash. They become tired, unfocused, and irritable right when they need to concentrate. Teachers have literally told me they can identify which students ate highly processed white bread based on behavioral patterns. Morning, focused. After lunch, hyperactive. Mid-afternoon, exhausted. The texture is like memory foam. You can compress it to 1/5 original size, and it springs back. That's chemical engineering using emulsifiers, Dow conditioners, and vegetable gums. I left a slice exposed for 3 weeks. It didn't mold. It didn't get stale. It remained soft and spongy. The preservatives are so powerful that bacteria, fungi, and mold won't touch it. Mighty Soft costs $4.20 a loaf. You're paying over $4 for bread actively harming your children's health, development, and academic performance. The marketing shows smiling kids with school lunches. Parents think they're making a convenient choice. You're not. You're programming your children for obesity, diabetes, behavioral issues, and lifetime health problems. Look for bread with 5 or fewer ingredients, starting with whole grain flour, not enriched wheat flour. Avoid added sugars, vegetable oils, or long preservative lists. Real sourdough is excellent because fermentation breaks down gluten and lowers glycemic index. Proper whole grain bread with visible grains provides actual fiber and sustained energy. Your health is worth more than saving $2 on bread. If this opened your eyes, smash that like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me which bread you're switching from.